Hello everyone, and welcome back to Dragalia Foundry. And depending on when you're watching this, welcome back to Dragalia Lost. There was an emergency maintenance last night, so we haven't been able to log in for quite a while. I am here in the morning. It is the final day of the Gala showcase, so I planned this as a summoning video, but with all of these notifications, I feel like we have to at least flip through this to see if Gala Cleo is so broken that she's just completely destroying this game. It doesn't look like she's the cause of any of the issues though, but I say that more as a joke. So we got alliances yesterday. There's an endeavor that you have lots of time to complete to earn some more might. There was an issue with normal endeavors where if your might was above a certain level, it wouldn't register, and so you weren't able to collect your war might for that. There's been a problem with Roy in the Mercurial Gauntlet, which should be fixed now, but Roy was clapping earlier than he should have been. And there's all sorts of other problems here. This one we're going to take a look at in a minute because that's pretty significant. But issue in the shop with the Eldwater display, be very careful because the counts haven't actually reset and the prices haven't actually reset. But what it's going to show you is, in some cases, it will show you that you're purchasing Wyrmprints for the first time and suggest the price will actually be cheaper when it's not. So you have to be careful about that. Of course, this exciting Affliction update that was planned as part of 1.10, not happening. You may have gotten to enjoy one day of floating ice cubes and other Affliction images appearing, but actually not working and enemies not getting afflicted at all. So they're reverting back to the older method, or the older system for afflictions, and they're not announcing right now when they're actually going to make those mechanic changes. So that's really unfortunate. That was a big part of that update for me. And honestly, all of these issues are just unfortunate. Kind of a bad look. Some people have been quick to point out the new director. Others allude to jokingly intern-kun. But I think this is something that is a team effort, and lots of people's work goes into a single game, especially an always online game like this. So I don't think it's one person's fault, but yeah, this has been the buggiest, and not in a good way, buggiest update we've ever had in the game. This news also got posted earlier than scheduled, so this is actually happening tomorrow, but for some reason they posted this today. And this is actually really disgusting, and it's kind of part of the conversation about Gala Cleo just being totally broken and totally absurd. They're powering up Konohana Sakaya so that now, when fully unbound, she's going to provide 20% strength and 90% skill damage, instead of providing 20% strength and 70%. And they're doing the same thing to Shinobi, and mind you, Shinobi is a lot better than Sakaya, just because Shinobi can energize the whole team. And Shinobi, I believe, has a better dragon form because it has the same dragon form as Gilgamesh does. So now, not only is Gala Cleo already the strongest adventurer in the game by a lot, but her best dragon has just gotten that much better. So this was supposed to come out tomorrow, like I said. The release is actually coming out tomorrow, but the notice was supposed to go alongside the release day of it, and it came out early. The notification came out early. The more exciting news we got is Splash of Summer, so I'll save that to the end. We got this Alliance feature release bonus, and I was really worried that Splash of Summer would be a new type of Alliance event because we didn't get any information about it, like a preview, until now. But it looks like it's going to be a raid, at least this first part. And I don't know if this was planned, but we're getting a lot of Wyrmite for the introduction of the Alliance feature. It could also be a form of compensation, but maybe not labeled as such, but we're getting a lot of it. There's some artwork there, so maybe it was planned. And here's the actual notice about the emergency maintenance itself. So the game was out for at least a couple of hours, from what I can tell. I was not able to stay up and see when the maintenance ended, but it looks like 9:40 p.m. to 11:40 p.m. So as a token of appreciation, everybody got 1,200 Wyrmite, and there was an issue where what sort of caused this maintenance was some people saw a free daily deal appear, even though it was a Monday, and when they clicked on it, it took them to a summoning screen where they got a free tenfold worth of summons off the Gala. So as our compensation, we've gotten, if that didn't happen to you, we've gotten a free tenfold voucher in addition to the one that was already planned for version 1.10. However, this new voucher that we got that wasn't planned, it has an expiration date. So be really careful with this. You want to make sure you use this before that expiration date. The one that's tied to the version update does not. So that's pretty much all of the flaws and all of the issues that have happened that have broken Dragalia Lost recently. I really hope this isn't a trend and that we start to see some changes. On the bright side, summer is right around the corner. The event starts tomorrow. This is a look at our free adventure and our free dragon. It's a raid event. And our adventure is that Summer Estelle that was shown off. You can see her artwork there. The raid boss will be flame attuned. This is only our second ever flame raid. And we're getting an adventurer who was our welfare unit from the first flame raid as a summonable character, Celiera. The other big thing here is that this is not limited. Everything here, it's going to be in the permanent pool, so kind of contrary to our expectations, maybe supporting the idea that there's not going to be limited banners anymore, but that's kind of an interesting thing to note. And they're also making the focus dragon appear more often. Basically, they're decreasing the amount of dragon pity breakers that you'll get. The overall amount of getting a dragon is the same, but you're more likely to get the one that's on focus. So that's pretty cool to see. I'm not going to go into too much detail about the adventures, except to say just the artwork looks great. I'm really happy with the character selection, and all of them seem really powerful. They do rely on Bog. 2 of the adventurers rely on Bog at least. I'm not sure about Ronzel, who is our other summer adventurer that was in the trailer video. And so that's somewhat of a conflict with Leviathan and a common approach for the Mercurial Gauntlet, which is that since you can only inflict Bog once, you really want it to be done during break by Leviathan. So these characters could easily make it so that you use up your 1 Bog instance earlier. However, the kits look really cohesive, they do look really strong, and Celiera being burn res means if you haven't taken on Hibernhilda's trial already, she'll be great for that. Unfortunately with Julieta, there's no good axe to use against Void Agni. So even though she has stun res, she's not ideal for that, but at least as an axe with her defense co-ability, it's pretty easy to run printless in Hibernhilda's trial, so you could bring her to that and use prints that grant 100% burn res. That's just an overview, but I'm going to give my full review in this week's Dragalia Weekly. And then of course, Siren. Skill is very similar to that on Sakuya, and she has the same aura. This is pretty much, to me, the reason that they pushed those past characters or past dragons rather, Shinobi and Konohana Sakuya, is to make them in line with Siren, and they had to push Siren, otherwise I don't know that people would summon on this, since it's not limited. So that's kind of my cynical perspective, is they probably did this just to sell this banner, essentially, even though those other 2 dragons didn't need a power adjustment. But this is another form of subtle power creep, where this won't be best for everyone, but suddenly this looks very competitive with Leviathan, who's been the best water dragon in content where you can inflict Bog for a while. And I don't think this will necessarily take the crown from Leviathan, because Bog is just that good, and Leviathan also has a good dragon form if you don't use its 3rd hit of its combo. But it's still a little bit troubling alongside this trend of Gala Cleo, so I'm a little concerned as far as the direction of the game and the balance goes. It's not as bad as if the game were to have PvP, but Alliances just started, so, there's a possibility that we're moving toward a Gala Cleo Shinobi world. That being said, here I am buying into it because I'm planning on summoning today, basically until I get Gala Cleo or run out of summoning resources, specifically Wormite, because I don't really want to dip into Diamantium except for purchases that require it. So I'm hopeful that we'll be able to get Gala Cleo. There's a lot else on my wish list. I would love to get a Gala Cerise. I would love to get Ramona. I don't have Student Maribel, but unfortunately, she's kind of just outclassed by Gala Cleo, so not necessarily that desirable. Wedding Aoi is someone I've wanted for a while. I went all out trying to summon for her. I don't have Silas, I don't have Xanfree. There are others I don't have, who I don't necessarily need, but I would like to get if I could. Yaten is another one who's really been appealing to me a lot lately. I kind of missed his banner. I was pretty busy at that time, and so I didn't really appreciate how cool his kit is and his character is. Shinobi would be amazing, but we're not going to dwell on this too much, since that's all, hopes and dreams. Let's see what we actually summon. We need to summon 7 times to increase our appearance rates. That's because I did get a Pity Breaker along the way as part of my daily deals. I happened to get my 2nd copy of Konohana Sakuya on Sunday. So, thankfully, in just my daily deals and my free summons, I have been able to get 1 5-star off the showcase already. And she is a pretty good one, especially after this buff that's coming out for her. It's such an interesting thing with Gala Cleo because, on one hand, I see why they need to push power, and Gala units are a good time to do it since they're not part of the normal summoning pool, so you don't have as many direct comparisons to the weaker counterpart adventurers. And I think the reason why they need to do it is just because there needs to be some reason for heavily invested players to actually want to summon for something, or even for whales to want to summon for something. So I think power creep's kind of inevitable in gachas. The good thing is this is a co-op game and not a PvP game. So somebody else having a Gala Cleo, for most content, that's helping you. That's not hurting you at all. So in that way, I'm willing to kind of give it a pass. But she is so far beyond, like more than 50% beyond on element wands and adventurers that it's pretty disgusting, honestly. It's pretty deplorable. But that's kind of what I think about Cleo. In case you're wondering what makes her so good, it's not just that she has 2 attacking skills. She also is able to put out a buff area. She also debuffs the enemy's defense. She also has utility effects like debuffing strength and providing healing over time. Her first skill can adapt to either dealing with waves of enemies or single targets very well. And she's Shadow Element, so she has no elemental weakness. And she's a wand, so she has the excellent skill damage co-ability. So that's kind of in a nutshell, what makes her so powerful. And Shinobi is the best dragon for her. Poor Kleiman, another Shadow Wand just completely obliterated by Gala Cleo. But I'm kind of buying in here because I'm hitting a wall against the Mercurial Gauntlet, specifically the Wind one. I'm able to progress in Flame, and I'm on 49 right now. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to clear 50, which is the one I haven't cleared yet. But we'll see. Maybe Gala Cleo will help me out. We're going to start going for our tenfolds, and just to make sure I'm using the proper voucher, I'm going to go in here to my items, pick the voucher that's going to expire, and summon from that one first. I assume it would make you use the expiring one first, but you never know. And did the game not work? Maybe that just takes you to the summoning page. So we might not be able to actually select which one we use. Let's do one tenfold and then see which one it uses up. And it looks like we're gonna get a 5-star, so maybe we'll be lucky, we'll get our Gala Cleo and can go home for the day. 2 5-stars. An axe. Alright, there's some axes I don't have. And a dragon. There's lots of dragons I don't have. And this could be Nurse Eileen. But it's gonna be Waiting Xania. So, let's see what axe we get. I don't have Julieta. That's one that would be new for sure. And I don't have Ramona! We got Ramona! Okay, that's a relief. Not a duplicate, and she's awesome for the Flame Mercurial Gauntlet. I have that one unbound Konohana Sakuya I mentioned earlier, who's going to become even stronger. That could easily be a great dragon for her, since her skill 1 does so much damage. Ramona's kind of power creep, but not as extreme. And we got Levi? Leviathan? That's also really good for me. That could push me over the top for that final level of the Water Gauntlet, because I've been doing it without Max Unbound Leviathan. But Ramona is the crown jewel here. We actually have all of the sisters now, so we can make a sisters theme team. And they work really well together. I have really been enjoying Reyna and Void Zephyr. I never really used to like that fight, and I was using a sword character for it. But Reina's survivability, her regen, her defense boost, she is really fun to use. And now we get to use her alongside her sister, Ramona. Okay, we didn't get Gala Cleo. We're not doing completely broken things yet, but this is a very, highly desired character for me, so I'm pretty pumped. She looks so cute. She looks really good. Alright, we've gotten really good luck so far. And increasing our pity rate and then doing that tenfold, it seemed to work out for us. So let's continue doing our singles. There are still lots of great pulls that we can get. And I'm still planning on going for Gala Cleo as much as I can. Since Summer isn't limited, as cute as Julieta, Ronsel, and Celiera look, and Siren too, I'm probably gonna skip, or at least wait until the end. It does last until August 13th or 14th, so it's a pretty long duration banner, and it's likely we'll get some type of information on what's next sometime during the summer event. And I still think there might be another summer banner as part of the second part of the event, so I'm holding out for that possibility for sure before I summon on the summer banner. If you are a Julieta or Celiera fan though, congratulations. This is going to be your best time to try pick them up. Hopefully you're able to do so. But since they're part of the permanent pool, they will be around and they're not as hard to snipe or even hard to pull off focus as Gala characters are. And speaking of Gala characters, please be a Cleo or a Cerise. I'll take a Cerise. Okay. It's just a Nefaria. Got a little bit too excited there. I guess technically, my dream summon for Nefaria, ended up in a dupe. So that's the first time that's happened. I guess we could make the case that a dragon would have been a better dream summon, but I've gotten to enjoy Nefaria plenty and use her plenty since then. We're gonna get another 5-star right away. Man, our luck is good today. Okay, a sword. It could be Yaten. Okay, it's gonna be Albert. Yep, we should expect that. We have most of the adventures in the game, so these dupes are going to happen. A third 5-star? A third 5-star off singles? Please. It could be... We're done. We got Gala Cleo. We got 5 stars. 2 of them were dupes. But still, and we got Gala Cleo, and we didn't even have to spin Wormite. I am stockpiling everything for the anniversary now. I'm going to 50 node this character. Let's take a look. Ancient Ray. This, I would say, mitigates her one true weakness, which is waves of enemies. Wands are not that great when they get swarmed, particularly if they get swarmed by mobs who have shields, because the wand 4-strike is kind of hard to aim. But this happens to hit up to 5 targets, so this can mitigate that greatly, but if they have shields, this won't work very well against those enemies. So right now, the only mode that I can conceive of this Cleo being kind of bad in would be like defensive battles that we had for the Fae crossover, just because there's lots of small enemies with shields sometimes, and that would be hard for her to take out. But one-on-one, or even against most wave content, she's still going to be awesome. This has a ton of utility, reduces defense for 20 seconds, which is huge. Activates skill shift, then it can debuff attack or strength, and then it can provide HP regen, which is why you're seeing these insane speed clears with quadruple Gala Cleo of High Jupiter's Trial. It might be just the optimal or best strategy to use. In some ways, it's similar to the quadruple Fjorm clears that we've seen recently. Magical Modification 1, this is what lets her create that 4-strike buff zone. Perpetual Protection, 100% blindness and paralysis res, and then skill prep of 100%. So, if her whole kit wasn't already good enough, against Mercurial Gauntlet, against Roy rather, you can just like unleash everything at once. Reduces defense, create a strength buff zone for your team so that by the time some of these effects start to wear off, you've already charged up your skills for the second use. So somehow we've gotten absurdly lucky here. Now I have an extremely viable team for the Flame Gauntlet because I have Mikoto or Reina, I have Ramona, I have Gala Cleo as my wand, and then we can fill in that final slot with one of the many powerful characters that I've been fortunate enough to summon. So I'm going to go ahead and upgrade these adventurers. It's quite possible I will dump a bunch of augments into Gala Cleo. I've got to be honest, I'm not crazy about, from the beginning I've said I'm not crazy about the power creep. I'm also not super into, quadruple Gala Cleo clears, just because it shows me just how disgusting and degenerate this character is. I also don't happen to have a Shinobi yet, so I'm going to be running her with Juggernaut or with Silk, which will be a significant reduction in her power, but I think she's still going to be strong enough to use off element and do just fine with. So I don't have all of the orbs I need to unlock the mana circles right now. You can see my orb collection has been running really dry since some of our recent changes where we got altars that go all the way up to level 35. I'm going to go ahead and start unbinding these dragons though. Now that I only need one more unbind to max Levi, I might actually do it. I was holding off because I have a Dragon Yule Jean d'Arc already, but I'm going to see if this level 85 Levi ends up being enough to clear the gauntlet for Flame, and if not, maybe I will throw a stone, but it's likely, one day I'll pick up another Levi. I'll go ahead and unbind my Sakuya as well. She's another one that I'm thinking maybe now is the time since I've never max unbound any Gacha Flame Dragon. It's definitely between her and Arctos for me, just because Arctos works so well for Mikoto. But that's pretty much going to do it for this video, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that your Gala luck was as good as mine was. This is still pretty unbelievable to me. Yeah, I hope that things go well. I hope the rest of the week is smooth, and I'll see you at the end for a spotlight and a Dragalia weekly. Take care, everyone, and see you then.